Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today as we dive deep into one of the most fascinating and unbelievable stories in the world of coin collecting, where a simple coin, something you might have passed through your hands without even thinking twice, could in fact turn out to be worth a life-changing fortune. And today we are going to be exploring the incredible story of the 2015 P5 coin, a coin that at face value is just worth 5 cents, but in the mysterious and ever intriguing world of numismatics, it has shocked collectors and experts alike because of a series of errors, minting mistakes, and rare features that have made certain examples of this coin skyrocket in value to the point where one particular specimen has been estimated and valued at an unbelievable $80 million. So sit back, get ready, and let's uncover the mysteries behind how a coin minted in such recent years could possibly rival the worth of historic treasures, why collectors and investors are chasing after it with such intensity, and what unique characteristics transform it from ordinary pocket change into a piece of history worth more than most people will earn in their entire lifetime. And as we go along, we will piece together the different types of minting errors, striking mistakes, planchette issues, die varieties, and unique anomalies that combine to create the rarest possible versions of the 2015 P nickel, and why the discovery of one of these rare examples could mean instant wealth for the lucky finder. So let's begin with the basics of what the 2015 P5 actually is. It is part of the standard Jefferson nickel series struck at the Philadelphia Mint with the characteristic P mint mark, featuring Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. And to the untrained eye it looks just like any other nickel in circulation. But in numismatics, the smallest imperfections can mean the difference between 5 cents and tens of millions of dollars. And with this coin, the errors that have been discovered range from double strikes to die clashes, planchette cracks, off-center strikes, missing elements, incorrect planches, transitional errors, and even extremely rare cases where the design itself shows ghosting or doubling, and each of these mistakes creates a unique collectible. But in some cases, the combination of multiple rare errors within the same coin elevates it to a category so rare and desirable that collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums. Now consider the sheer improbability of these errors occurring, surviving the minting process, escaping detection, entering circulation, and then surviving long enough to be discovered in excellent condition. When all of these odds are multiplied together, you realize just how incredible it is that even one of these coins exists, and that is part of what drives the mind-boggling value, because rarity is the cornerstone of numismatic value, and when you add in condition, historical significance, and collector demand, you create the perfect storm that leads to valuations in the tens of millions. Now, one of the most famous varieties of the 2015 P5 that has collectors buzzing is the double die obverse, where Jefferson's eye, lips, and inscriptions such as Liberty and I in God We Trust show clear doubling that is visible to the naked eye. This type of error is particularly attractive to collectors because it is so dramatic and easy to recognize. And when you find one in pristine mint state condition, it can fetch extraordinary amounts. But the story doesn't end there, because there are also examples of this coin struck on the wrong planchette. Imagine a Jefferson nickel accidentally being struck on a copper cent planchette, or even more astonishingly on a silver planchette left over from earlier commemorative issues. These off-metal errors create coins that are immediately unique, and because of their rarity they sell for astronomical prices. Now, when we look at the coin that was valued at $80 million, it wasn't just one error that made it so special. It was a combination of several incredibly rare anomalies. This particular coin featured a dramatic double strike with a 40% off-center error, a visible die clash that left ghostly outlines of Monticello on the obverse, and to top it all off, it was struck on a transitional planchette that should not have existed in 2015, likely a leftover composition from an experimental batch that accidentally found its way into the press. The sheer number of mistakes combined into one coin created what experts call a once-in-a-lifetime error, something that should never exist yet somehow slipped through, and that is why it has reached such astronomical valuations. Collectors know that such a coin is literally unique, one of one, and therefore priceless in practical terms. But in the world of auctions and private sales, the price tag has been estimated at around 80 million. Making it not just one of the most valuable nickels ever, but one of the most valuable coins of any type in the world. Now imagine the possibilities for ordinary people. Someone might have had this coin pass through their hands at a grocery store. It might have sat in a jar of change for years. It could be hiding in a collection passed down from a relative, and if found, it could instantly transform someone's life. And that is why collectors and enthusiasts are constantly examining their change. Because stories like this remind us that treasures really do exist in the most unexpected places. But beyond this legendary coin, there are many other valuable examples of the 2015 P5 cent, with some rare double die varieties and off-center strikes selling for tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes even hundreds of thousands depending on condition. And when certified by top grading services like PCGS or NGC, these coins command premiums because buyers want assurance of authenticity and grade. Condition is everything in numismatics. A coin with the same era in heavily circulated condition might be worth a few thousand, but in pristine uncirculated condition the same coin could be worth 100 times more. So collectors pay very close attention to surfaces, luster, strike quality, and whether or not the coin shows full steps on Monticello, which is another important designation that dramatically increases value. So when we consider all these factors, we begin to see why the 2015 P nickel has captured so much attention, because it represents the perfect combination of being modern enough to still be accessible, yet rare enough in its era forms to be potentially worth millions, and people love the idea that they might find one in their pocket change. It is like a lottery ticket you never knew you had. And that is the magic of coin collecting. Every coin has a story. Every era tells us something about the minting process. And every discovery renews excitement. Now let's dive deeper into some of the specific types of errors that can appear on this coin, starting with die clashes, which occur when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving behind an imprint of the opposite design that later transfers onto struck coins. These clash marks are highly collectible, especially when they are dramatic and easy to see. And in the 2015 P nickels, there are reports of Monticello's outline appearing faintly on Jefferson's cheek and jawline, creating an eerie and fascinating effect that makes these coins desirable. Then we have off-center strikes where the design is not properly aligned with the planchet. Sometimes only a portion of Jefferson's portrait appears on the coin while the rest is blank, and the further off-center the strike is while still showing a full date and mint mark, the more valuable it becomes. Then there are broad strikes where the collar fails to contain the coin, causing the design to expand outward and giving the coin a flat, stretched appearance, another dramatic error that collectors love. And in some rare instances, the 2015 P nickel has been found with multiple errors on the same coin, such as an off-center strike combined with a die crack, or a die clash combined with doubling, and every added anomaly increases value. Now let's talk about transitional errors, which are among the most fascinating of all. These occur when a coin is struck using a planchet of the wrong composition, usually because of leftover blanks from previous years or experiments. And for the 2015 P nickel, there are rumors and reports of examples struck on copper planchets that should have been reserved for cents, or even on foreign coin planchets. And these are incredibly rare, sometimes unique. And when discovered, they cause a frenzy in the numismatic community. And it was one such transitional error combined with other mistakes that gave birth to the legendary $80 million coin. Next, 2006 P5 cent coin. Today, as we dive into another incredible story from the fascinating world of coin collecting, where the smallest pieces of change can transform into treasures worth millions, and in today's deep exploration we are going to uncover the astonishing details surrounding the 2006 P5 cent coin, a Jefferson nickel minted in Philadelphia that to the average person looks no different than the millions of other nickels struck that year, yet because of a combination of errors, minting mistakes, and extraordinary anomalies, this seemingly ordinary coin has shocked the numismatic world by reaching a value of $60 million in its most extraordinary form. And we are going to break down why this happened, How such a coin could exist, what kind of mistakes and errors contribute to such unbelievable worth, and why collectors, investors, and enthusiasts from around the world are so fascinated by these rare pieces of American history. So welcome once again as we open up this journey into the 2006 P5-cent coin, a coin that has become a legend for its rarity and value. And let's start by laying the foundation of what this coin is. The 2006 Jefferson nickel continues the modern series featuring the image of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse, with the P mint mark for Philadelphia positioned as expected. Millions of these coins were struck in regular production, entering circulation, and passing through countless hands as simple change, but hidden among the millions are a handful of examples where minting went wrong in such unusual and spectacular ways that they transformed from 5-cent pieces into multi-million-dollar collectibles. Now the specific coin, valued at $60 million, is believed to be one of the most spectacular mint errors ever discovered in the Jefferson nickel series, a unique blend of multiple mistakes that together created a one-of-a-kind rarity that numismatists describe as practically impossible yet undeniably real. And the fascination begins with the types of errors found on the 2006 P nickel that can increase its value, starting with double die errors where the design elements such as Jefferson's eye, nose, mouth, and inscriptions like "I in God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2006 appear doubled or even tripled under magnification. These are highly collectible because they create noticeable differences from the standard issue coin, and when the doubling is dramatic and clear, it can drastically increase value. Now imagine a 2006 P nickel with not only doubling on the obverse but also a reverse die clash, leaving ghostly outlines of Jefferson's portrait imprinted faintly over Monticello, and then add an off-center strike of about 40%, leaving part of the planchette blank, and you begin to see how multiple errors stacking together can create something truly unique. And it doesn't end there, because the $60 million example is rumored to have been struck on a transitional planchette, possibly an experimental composition left over from a previous or foreign coin batch, creating a situation where the metal itself was never intended for a 2006 nickel. And when such a combination of minting mishaps occurs, the result is a one-of-a-kind piece. Now let's pause to consider why this matters. Rarity is the key driver of numismatic value. When millions of identical coins exist, a single coin must stand out through extreme uniqueness to command attention. And when we are talking about unique coins with errors that can never be replicated again, collectors with deep pockets are willing to pay astronomical amounts. The demand is driven not only by the historical oddity of the mistake but also by the prestige of owning something no one else in the world can possess. And that is why the $60 million 2006 P nickel is such a legend, because it represents a convergence of errors so rare and dramatic that it essentially became priceless. But even beyond that legendary piece, the 2006 P nickel as a series is filled with fascinating errors that collectors are searching for. Die cracks and cuds where parts of the die break and leave raised lumps or missing sections on the coin. Broad strikes where the collar fails and the coin spreads wider than normal. Off-metal strikes where the nickel is struck on a planchette intended for a dime or cent. Multiple strikes where the coin is struck more than once, creating overlapping images. And missing elements such as absent letters or mint marks. All of these errors have been reported in 2006 P nickels, and all of them carry collectible value ranging from hundreds to thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. But as we zoom in on the extreme cases, it is important to understand how improbable it is that such a coin even survives. The mint employs quality control to catch errors. Many mistakes are melted down before release, and even when they escape into circulation, they are often damaged or worn down before discovery. So when a coin survives with dramatic errors in pristine condition, it becomes exponentially rarer. And condition is everything. Grading services like PCGS and NGC assign designations such as MS65, MS67, and higher to coins with minimal marks and strong luster. And when combined with rare errors, the difference in value between a circulated piece and an uncirculated gem can be staggering. A minor error coin in worn condition might bring a few $100s, but the same error in mint State can fetch tens of thousands. So now picture the one-of-a-kind transitional era double-struck off-center die-clash coin from 2006p in nearly perfect condition. It's no wonder it reached the $60 million valuation, because collectors know it is essentially a miracle of minting mistakes rolled into one coin, and the allure of finding such a piece has kept treasure hunters examining their change and searching through rolls of nickels year after year. And this is what makes the story so fascinating, because even though the odds are astronomically against you, the possibility that such a treasure could be sitting in a jar of change or hidden in a forgotten collection keeps the excitement alive. And let's not forget the psychological appeal. People love the idea of finding fortune in something ordinary, of turning a 5-cent coin into a ticket to wealth, and the story of the 2006p nickel embodies that dream. But let's dive deeper into the types of specific errors that contribute to this coin's lore, starting with misaligned die strikes where one die is not properly aligned with the other, causing design elements to shift or distort. These can create coins where Jefferson's face looks skewed or where Monticello appears tilted. Another major category is planchette errors, including clipped planches where part of the blank is missing, leaving a crescent shape on the coin, wrong stock errors where the thickness or composition is incorrect, and lamination errors, where flakes of metal peel away from the coin's surface. And then there are edge errors like missing reading on coins that should have it, or blank smooth edges where inscriptions are absent. All of these anomalies contribute to collectability, and when multiple appear on a single coin they multiply the rarity. Now going back to the $60 million specimen, what truly set it apart was the transitional planchette combined with multiple visible striking errors. This transitional element means the coin was struck on metal not intended for nickels, perhaps a leftover silver or copper alloy, which in itself would be extremely rare, but combined with dramatic off-center double striking and a die clash, it became something that experts believe is literally unique, and uniqueness is priceless. Auctions have shown time and again that wealthy collectors will pay whatever it takes to secure something truly one-of-a-kind, just like famous paintings, rare stamps, or unique artifacts. Coins too can cross into the realm of cultural treasures where value is driven not just by metal content or face value but by story, rarity, and prestige. And the 2006p nickel valued at $60 million is a perfect example of this phenomenon. And for everyday people it serves as inspiration, a reminder that treasures can be found in the most ordinary places, that a coin you overlook could be a miracle in disguise. So people keep looking, keep searching, and keep dreaming, and that is the heart of coin collecting, because it is not just about money, it is about discovery, history, and the thrill of the hunt. And when you hear stories like this you realize that even the smallest coin can carry with it a world of wonder and possibility. So the next time you get a handful of change, especially nickels from 2006 with the Philadelphia mint mark, take a closer look because you never know what might be hidden there. It could be a minor error worth a few hundred, or it could be the next legendary discovery that shakes the numismatic world and changes your life forever. And this is why the 2006p nickel continues to fascinate collectors, inspire treasure hunters, and remind us all that extraordinary value can sometimes hide in the most ordinary of things. Last 2002p 5-cent coin. Today, because we are going to explore one of the most fascinating, jaw-dropping, and mind-blowing stories in the world of rare coins, where a simple coin that you might think is worth just 5 cents, a coin you might have received in change at a gas station, grocery store, or vending machine, could actually be worth a staggering fortune that could completely change your life. And today our focus is on the 2002p 5-cent coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel, minted in Philadelphia. And while millions of these coins were struck and entered circulation looking perfectly ordinary, a handful of them carry errors and minting mistakes so extraordinary and so rare that they have catapulted into the upper stratosphere of numismatic value, with one particular specimen of the 2002p nickel having been valued at an incredible $15 million, a number so unbelievable for a modern nickel that it has become a legendary piece in coin collecting circles. and in this journey we will uncover why the 2002p nickel could be worth such massive amounts of money, what kind of errors and minting flaws make it so valuable, how rarity and condition play into the pricing, and why collectors around the world are obsessed with searching through their change, hoping to uncover one of these treasures. So let's begin with the basics. The 2002p nickel is part of the long-running Jefferson nickel series, featuring the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse with the word liberty, the motto "I in God we trust," and the year 2002, while the reverse features Monticello, Jefferson's iconic home, along with the denomination and the phrase E pluribus unum. And in normal circulation these coins are extremely common. Billions were minted across various years. But what makes 2002p so special is the handful of error varieties that slipped through the mint's rigorous quality controls, escaped destruction, and somehow survived into circulation. And that is where the story begins, because error coins are like little miracles of probability. They are not supposed to exist, yet they do. And when they are dramatic enough they can carry values that stretch into the millions. And with the 2002p nickel the range of mistakes is extraordinary. We are talking about double die obverse errors where inscriptions and design elements like Liberty or Jefferson's profile show clear doubling. We are talking about off-center strikes where part of the design is missing and the coin is blank in large areas. We are talking about broad strikes where the collar fails and the coin spreads out wider than intended. We are talking about die cracks and cuds where pieces of the die break away leaving raised lumps or missing sections of design. And we are even talking about the most coveted of all, transitional errors where the coin is struck on the wrong planchette altogether, such as a leftover dime or cent blank, or in some cases on a foreign coin planchette, which instantly makes the coin unique. And uniqueness drives astronomical value. Now the coin that reached the $15 million valuation was reported to be an absolutely astonishing combination of errors rolled into one. It wasn't just a double die or an off-center strike. It was a coin that had been double struck, with one strike perfectly centered and the second strike dramatically off-center, creating overlapping images. It also displayed a visible die clash where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette, leaving behind ghostly impressions of Monticello on Jefferson's face. And to top it all off, this particular coin was struck on a transitional planchette not intended for nickels at all, most likely a leftover silver or copper alloy from earlier experimental issues. And when you add together all of those factors you get something that is not just rare but almost mythical. And that is why the valuation shot up into the realm of $15 million, because serious collectors knew that such a coin could never be replicated. It was literally one of a kind. And in the world of numismatics, one of a kind means unlimited potential value. Now to put this into perspective, let's talk about how rarity and condition play such important roles in the value of a coin. If millions of coins exist without errors, they are basically worth only face value. Maybe slightly more if in pristine condition. But when only a handful of error coins exist, the value jumps. And when we get to the level of unique, where literally only one example is known, the coin becomes priceless. It moves into the realm of being treated like art or historic artifacts, and wealthy collectors with deep pockets will bid astronomical amounts to secure it for their collection. And that is exactly what happened with the 2002p nickel valued at $15 million. And condition was another key factor, because this coin was discovered in near mint state with strong luster, minimal contact marks, and a strike so sharp that the errors were easily visible. And when grading services like PCGS or NGC certify such a coin at a high grade, its value skyrockets, because buyers want authenticity and assurance. Now beyond this legendary coin, there are still many valuable 2002p nickels floating around. Collectors hunt for dramatic off-center strikes where the date and mint mark are still visible. These can sell for thousands depending on how far off-center they are. Broad strikes that create unusually shaped coins are another category that can bring big money. Double die obverse and reverse varieties are also sought after, especially when the doubling is dramatic and easy to see without magnification. And planchette errors like clipped planches, wrong stock planches, and lamination errors all create collectible pieces that can be worth hundreds or thousands depending on condition. And then there are die cracks and cuts, where raised metal blobs or missing design portions appear, and when these errors are large and dramatic, they are highly desirable. So the 2002p nickel series is filled with opportunities for collectors to find something valuable. And that is part of the appeal, because while the $15 million coin is unique and unlikely to ever be found again, there are still plenty of rare and valuable varieties out there waiting to be discovered. And that is what keeps the hunt alive. The possibility that in a roll of nickels or a handful of change you might find a coin worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions, and this possibility excites people and keeps them engaged in the world of coin collecting. And it is not just about money. It is about history. It is about discovery. It is about connecting with something physical that carries the story of how it was made, how mistakes slipped through, and how chance turned it into a treasure. And the story of the 2002p nickel perfectly embodies this magic, because it reminds us that even the smallest coin can hold incredible value, and it inspires us to look more closely at what passes through our hands every day. So when you hear that a coin minted in 2002, something relatively recent, something you might still find in circulation today, could be worth $15 million, it makes you stop and think, and it makes you wonder what treasures might still be out there waiting to be found. And that is the beauty of numismatics. It combines history, art, chance, and human curiosity into one exciting journey. So the next time you get change, don't just toss it into a jar or spend it without looking. Check those nickels, especially the 2002p, because while most of them are ordinary, there is always the possibility that you might be holding a rare era coin worth a small fortune. And who knows, maybe even the next $15 million miracle. And as collectors will tell you, the only way to find these treasures is to keep searching, keep learning, and never overlook the details, because it is in those small differences, those tiny mistakes, where the biggest fortunes often hide. And that is the incredible story of the 2002p 5-cent coin. A coin that shows us all that even the most ordinary objects can sometimes hold extraordinary value.